And dudes, Peter Von Panda here. Just picked up, just received a watch actually that I originally got on Kickstarter. It is an Egard Passages William Shatner limited edition watch, and I'm going to unbox it here. It comes with this flash drive. I actually have no idea what's on the flash drive, but it does come with that, so that's kind of a nice little extra. And it comes in this box here with the Egard logo on it. First thing I'll tell you is that this box is paper-ish, cardboard-ish. I know that Egard has had some limited edition watches in the past, and they've come in the much larger, kind of the lacquered finish wood box. So I was a little surprised to see maybe not quite as luxurious packaging. And while it probably doesn't hurt the value of the watch, where you're getting all the value of the watch built intrinsically into the watch itself, it is maybe just slightly disappointing that it's not, the packaging isn't something that you can keep and would store a little bit better. But overall, like I said, I like when I spend money on watches knowing that they are spent on the watch itself. A couple things I'll throw out about the Egard brand here is it's a California-based company, I believe, fairly small, fairly new, young owner, Alon, and Casper Van Dien is the brand ambassador. I hope I said his name right, but he was awesome in Starship Troopers. Loved him. I totally watch that movie anytime it's on TV. But he actually got connected with them and tweets a lot about them. His pictures all over the website. But William Shatner actually follows Casper on Twitter and saw some tweets about the watches and actually got connected with Egard. Had some conversations, helped design this, helped bring this to be, and so this is a limited edition watch developed and released in partnership with Bill Shatner, who I obviously love as a huge Star Trek fan. First thing I'll tell you about this watch is that it's limited edition, which I like, and it's a little bit off the reservation because no one's really seen watches from Egard, knows anything about them. But it started on Indiegogo, and Indiegogo is it's just like kind of Kickstarter. It was about 2 months late getting shipped, which is actually right on time for kind of Indiegogo's Kickstarter types of projects. So I don't really fault him for that, and Alana was very good about communication. But this same watch came in 4 versions. The gunmetal here, which is what I have, a black ion-plated one, a polished stainless steel, and also a rose gold. There were some slight variations in the face. The hands were different colors, I believe, on the different versions, but each version came in 1,000 pieces. So 4,000 total pieces on this limited edition, but only 1,000 per version, per case version like this. And the first thing right off the bat is you can see that the face of the watch is egg-shaped, and if you told me this watch was developed in partnership with Alienware, I would totally believe you, because it is a totally unique design and shape. It causes a couple of issues when you're building a watch like this, in that you've got to deal with the curve for the crystal this way, but then you also have to deal with all the axes being aligned so that when you cut the egg, this oblong shaped crystal out, it fits, the curvature fits, and also it fits inside the case. So it's actually fairly difficult to do crystal shapes that aren't circles. Some watch companies do it and usually pay a pretty big premium for it, but in a watch at this price point, which was $400 or $500 at the time on Kickstarter, $1,200 retail, it's actually kind of an engineering or watchmaking feat to get something like that in this price point. Usually it's just much easier to use a round crystal that is used on a lot of other watches. It's a Japanese Miyota movement, which is actually a good movement. Miyota movements are reliable, they're pretty ubiquitous, they're easy to maintain, they're easy to find parts and repair. If you saw my video on the Orecraft tends to use Miyota movements. It has an exhibition window here in the back. It's sapphire crystal on the front and the back, but this is truly more of a peekaboo window, which I lovingly call them, because it really doesn't show you the whole back movement. It just shows you enough to see the rotor there, and this has been slightly modified. And actually, I should probably qualify that a bit, because it's actually probably been more than slightly modified. It's obviously, it says passages on the rotor itself, 21 jewels, and you can see the balance wheel slightly there, and you can see it actually more prominent on the front. sort of focus on that for you so you can see it going. But how it's also modified because there is a you can see the moon. It's got a moon in a sun phase, essentially. A sun and moon that rises and sets behind these this kind of guilloche portion of the or guilloche, depending on where you're reading it from. Trying to zoom in there and show you. But those will look like basically clouds with a little bit of texture. They're actually pretty nicely detailed. I'm pretty impressed with the level of detail in the watch itself. And the moon there is clearly kind of gray. And that brings me to my next point, is that one of the interesting things about this is that they make a big deal that this is the only watch with asteroid, quote-unquote, dust on it. And I'm not sure exactly if that means meteorite dust, because I'm assuming they're collecting it from heavenly objects that have already fallen to the Earth. But as a meteor burns up and what's left crashes into the Earth, it's usually the heavy iron metal that makes it all the way to the planet. And going through kind of that melting phase creates a very heavy magnetism. And one of the reasons that it was delayed was that apparently applying the dust to the dial was actually causing issues with the movement. And my assumption would be with the magnetism interfering with the kind of the very delicate pieces. I don't know how they fix that, except for maybe reducing the amount of dust that they put on there. But my assumption, and I don't know this for a fact, is that it's probably on the moon part of the movement there. If we were looking at this 12 hours from now, that would be a sun, and it's my understanding in the pictures that it's actually a pretty bright yellow sun. So that seems like it would clash just a little bit, and I don't know if I'll be able to change the time quickly enough to get the sun phase up there. So it looks like we're pretty close. So you can see that there's a pretty bright yellow sundial. This does not appear to be a screwed down crown. And so I don't know about the water resistance of this watch, but it does not screw in. But I can feel it winding the movement as I move it there. So that's another piece of the movement that's been modified. And again, it says limited edition right there on the front. It's going to be a little hard to see here. Let me try to see if I can wipe this crystal off just a bit. This half of the dial has, the face of the dial has like a carbon fiber finish. You can see that there are some hour markers, and there is a little bit of depth to the face, which is nice. And I can tell you the other thing that Egard really likes is Roman numerals. So if you look at a bunch of their watches, they use Roman numerals. I'm not a huge fan of Roman numerals all around, but they use Roman numerals here at the top at the 12, and it looks fine. It's looks like it's kind of a polished metal finish. The other thing, and actually the other thing I'll throw out here as I talk about the hour and the minute hands, is that I believe this is the same movement, I think, that they use in the 7 Friday watches. And it's interesting to me because it must support a pretty heavy hand. 7 Friday watches, if you've seen, have actually a big centered kind of plate to the hands. This one obviously isn't quite as big, but to be able to support that and the hand on top of that, it must produce enough torque to move those types of hands. So it's kind of interesting that it shares a little bit of that design element with a very kind of heavy center disc on the hours, actually on the minute hand. The hour hand looks like it's just a regular type of hand underneath. And then it's got the subdial here for seconds, and that's moving very smoothly. One of the things that I saw in a review is it looks like there are this little V-shaped trusses. These support the bars for the balance wheel. My assumption is that is necessary to brace something in there, because in one of the reviews, and I think on the blog to watch, had said that it's a little bit of kind of a style mismatch. There's a lot of round in this watch, obviously the oblong shaped dial itself, and I do kind of forgive Egard for that. I don't think it's actually that jarring to see. When I see it on other watches, they're usually mirrored with the same type of piece on the other side or up at the top to kind of balance it out. And this doesn't really get that advantage of having that reflected anywhere else on the dial. So it does kind of look like it's kind of there without a lot of cohesiveness or sympathy to the rest of the design. But it's not bad. It's dark and it's pretty subtle. So all in all, I do like this watch, and it's actually pretty big. I want to say it's actually 45 millimeters wide, but because of the egg-shaped dial, it's something like 47, 48 tall. And I definitely like bigger watches. It's got nice weight to it, and it seems like a watch that will last. The gunmetal finish, I figured, was something that didn't look quite as dark like a sports watch, but wasn't quite as bright, and didn't try to look a lot too much like a luxury watch with a lot of kind of shining chromy bling to it. The last thing I'll quick show you here is that all of the watches came with this rubber Egard strap with the logo on it and the logo emblazoned on the backside, kind of like in a repeating pattern like the Louis Vuitton. But you could order a number of different optional straps. I did not option up this watch at all. This is what it comes with if you order this sucker just plain vanilla. Nice rubber strap, very thick, very wide. I like the fact that it has it's been molded and has some design in it. The deployment clasp here is the type where both sides swing into the middle to lock down. It is also gunmetal and has the Egard logo carved into it on the outside. And it feels pretty good. I can definitely tell you that I've seen a number of cheap ones that you would buy online, and this definitely feels head and shoulders above that. It feels maybe a little lighter maybe because of the construction or the thickness of the metal than some of the ones on very high-end watches, but I don't think you'll have any problem with it, and it certainly feels like a quality piece. You could certainly dress this up with an alligator or leather strap. I don't think it's necessary. I think this watch kind of looks and feels like a sport watch, and I from the videos I saw of William Shatner looking at it, he really was pleased with it, and I'm just happy to see something that I like a watch being built in partnership with someone that I've really admired because of his unique acting talent. So this is the Egard Passages William Shatner limited edition watch. Like I said, about $1,200 retail. If you were in early on the Indiegogo campaign, you got it for quite a bit less, but they're just starting to get out there now, and definitely a kind of a cool watch to add to your collection, especially if you like watches that are a little bit off the reservation and unique. But check it out. Hit like, even though you probably didn't like the video, because I like getting likes. The Panda likes the likes. Peter Von Panda, out.